I would like to welcome everybody to this demonstration. Shocking news. They railroaded R. Kelly according to the motion of new trial and the motion of disqualification, recusal. But before we get started with this demonstration, let me read my copyright disclaimer. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, scholarship, and research. What that means is that everything that you hear in this demonstration is for entertainment and educational purposes only. Let me bring my folks from Facebook over to this demonstration. Salute to the replay gang. Salute to the chat. Salute to my moderators. I want to welcome everybody from Facebook to this demonstration. Now, we're going to just jump straight into this demonstration with R. Kelly. Now, the latest news on R. Kelly, we all know about the attempt assassination on his life through a drug overdose. Now, I backtracked some things and I went back to, of course, the motion of recusal, which is a motion of disqualification. And I also went back to the motion of a new trial. So we're going to be going over, I'm going to be reading from those motions. So just bear with me. This will be an open panel demonstration. I will allow any of you all to join me on the panel. All right. So first, I'm going to start with the motion of new trial. All right. So I'm going to be reading from the motion of the new trial, and then I'll get into the motion of disqualification. So I'm going to take a quick break, and then I'm going to come back, and we're going to see exactly how they have been railroading R. Kelly. I'll take a quick break.
I'd like to place an order. Yeah. Hey, let me get a chicken box and a half a half. All right, good looking out. I'd like to place an order. Yeah. Hey, let me get a chicken box and a half a half. All right, good looking out. A chicken box, a half and half when I'm switching lanes. When I'm switching lanes. A chicken box, a half and half when I'm switching lanes. When I'm switching lanes. A chicken box, a half and half when I'm switching lanes. When I'm switching lanes. A chicken box, a half and half when I'm switching lanes. When I'm switching lanes. A chicken box, a half and half when I'm switching lanes. When I'm switching lanes. A chicken box, a half and half when I'm switching lanes.
But before we get started with this demonstration, let me read my copyright. Younger females like older men. So my smoothie is going to consist of
when I'm switching lanes. A chicken box, a half and half when I'm switching lanes. When I'm switching lanes. A chicken box, a half and half when I'm switching lanes.
All right. What is a motion for a new trial? A motion for a new trial is a request made by a party after a trial has concluded, asking the court to vacate the judgment and order a new trial. This motion can be filed by any party involved in the trial, whether it was a jury trial or a bench trial. The goal is to re-examine some or all of the matters from the concluded trial. All right, now we're going to go to R. Kelly's motion for a new trial. So it says, the introduction, it says, R. Kelly presently sits in a prison cell with blood clots in his lungs that could kill him at any time. The surgery that doctors at Duke University Hospital believe necessary to remove the clots and save his life. A pulmonary embolectomy was actively prevented by officers armed with assault-style rifles who removed Mr. Kelly from the hospital and placed him in solitary confinement at FCI Butner. This happened immediately after prison officials administered to him an overdose of sleeping medication, which could have killed him. Prison officials took 2 intentional acts that put Mr. Kelly's life in imminent danger within 2 days after he filed a motion that made public a declaration by Michael Glenn Stein, an avowed white supremacist and commissioner of the Aryan Brotherhood, who swore he was transferred to FCI Butner for the purpose of killing R. Kelly and solicited to do so by a Bureau of Prisons officials. This is not coincidence. This is not an R. Kelly production. This is what they are doing to him as these words are being written. So R. Kelly, as I said it before, R. Kelly has always spoken on them trying to take his life. So now you have a situation, all right? We got this situation with R. Kelly. Now, the staff, they already administered to him an overdose of his medication, right? Now, the 2 armed guards with assault rifles, for what? Where he's going at? How can he escape? And also, and we're going to get to that, they denied him surgery. Everybody knows just how serious blood clots are. So it goes on to say, we understand that these are shocking factual assertions, yet facts they are, and they can no longer be avoided. Duke University hospitals have confirmed Mr. Kelly was a patient at the times he indicated between June the 13th, June the 15th, 2025. A signed HIPAA waiver has been obtained. Medical records have already been ordered. Sources inside the hospital have confirmed that Mr. Kelly's account of his hospitalization is correct. Because you're going to have those that's going to say, Shank, he faking. Shank, how do we know it's true? Well, Duke University, Duke Hospital has confirmed exactly what R. Kelly and his attorney has said that happened to him, right? It goes on to say the medical records will confirm what we have already stated in prior filings. The truth is becoming undeniable. What truth? The truth of R. Kelly saying they trying to kill me. My life is in danger, right? It goes on to say Bureau of Prisons officials do not want R. Kelly to survive and are actively trying to kill him. In recent days, the recurrent question has been why? And I'll let those on the replay gang, I'll let you all answer, why are they trying to kill R. Kelly? It says this motion over which this court's jurisdiction is undisputable, will answer the question and again seek the immediate release of Robert Kelly as the one possible way to ensure that he lives to see his motion litigated to conclusion. The undersigned has been told that the informal and internal motto of the U.S. Attorney's Office in Chicago is justice is just us. The conduct that is detailed below illustrates the critical danger of such a mindset. When prosecutors believe that they define what justice is, then they begin to think that whatever they do to achieve their goals is fully justifiable. They begin to break the law while perpetuating to uphold it. They begin to believe that their decision to make a person the target of an investigation renders that person's guilty. And they begin to think that whatever they choose to do to make their case against their so-called target is necessarily righteous, regardless of what laws are broken or how many constitutional rights are fractured in the process. This is what happened with Robert Kelly. Prosecutors made the decision to use Bureau of Prisons officials and cooperating witnesses to break the law, to commit crimes, and to knowingly and intentionally and repeatedly violate Mr. Kelly's constitutional rights. What do we have here? Now, this phrase, this slogan, justice, we know justice is spelled Justice. Now, the breakdown of justice has been around for many years. Justice really means just us. That's a white supremacist terminology that has been broken down, right? Now, when it comes to them railroading him, how did they railroad him? We're going to go deeper into this motion of new trial, and it's going to speak on Jane Doe, and it's going to speak on Jane Doe NY. It's also going to speak about a cellmate, R. Kelly's old cellmate, who whenever R. Kelly would go on visits or whenever R. Kelly would leave out the cell, this old cell buddy would steal R. Kelly's legal mail, go through his legal mail. See, once again, it's not until we backtrack things, it's not until we really get into a case that we really see the defendant has been railroaded. A lot of times we just don't believe it because we only go by what the media puts out there. We only go by what the media wants us to know. Right? Now, let me grab a few comments before I go any further. It says he can get out for treatment back after completing. Salute Shelly. Salute Leisha. He around here trying to be incognito now. I think his name, Ronnie, don't quote me though. But let me go back to the motion of new trial. And it really, to me, is deep, and it does lay out a lot of crucial evidence that proves that he was railroaded. It says, all as a means of making a case they should never have brought in, getting a conviction they did not deserve. R. Kelly was the ultimate target. He was acquitted in 2008 after relentless investigations and accusations. He was the very epitome of the one that got away. So it's claiming that R. Kelly was one of many that actually got away. It goes on to say, armed with the council culture, the strident indignation of the Me Too movement, and the bright lights of a Lifetime television show, the U.S. Attorney's Office decided that they were going to get R. Kelly by any means necessary. It goes on to say the case in Chicago began and ended with one critical witness. Pay attention to this one critical witness, y'all. It says she went by the name Jane, right? At the trial, although her identity has been repeatedly revealed in many publications, the instant case would never have existed without the cooperation and testimony of Jane. She was the key. Without her, the whole case crumbles. Yet over the last year, we have discovered that the road to that testimony was paved by threats, empty promises, crimes, and constitutional violations in order to have their victim to go after R. Kelly, the public figure they were intent on bringing down. Prosecutors are the ones that did the victimizing. They made an unwilling person play the role of victim to serve their desires for the gradual of bringing down a larger than life public figure within the sanctimonious buzz of the Me Too movement. And they did it through crime, threat, and coercion. This is the very essence of illegally weaponizing the Department of Justice to pursue a public figure. When speaking at the Department of Justice, President Trump recently remarked, as the chief law enforcement officer in our country, I will insist upon and demand full and complete accountability for the wrongs and abuses that have occurred. The case of U.S. versus Kelly is one of the wrongs to which these comments plainly apply. This motion will illustrate and set forth the wrongs that were done to Mr. Kelly and the relief sought, the vacation of his conviction and his immediate release on bond pending the litigation of this motion will provide the accountability that the current administration demands. Let's just tap into that Me Too movement. How many of y'all remember the Me Too movement? Women, I think Bill Cosby, and y'all correct me if I'm wrong, I think Bill Cosby was one of those also that got caught up in that Me Too movement. R. Kelly got caught up in it as well. Now, Tupac, this was way before we was aware of the Me Too movement. Tupac got caught up in that Me Too movement back in the early 90s. And I'm sure other men have been caught in that Me Too movement. And what is that Me Too movement? When they sin. See, it's a difference. It's a difference when a woman is actually victimized. I'm all for that woman getting justice. But it's strange. It's strange that when it's not a celebrity involved, if it's a man, right? And if it's a woman that's been inappropriate touched by this man, if the man is not an entertainer or a celebrity, then it's prison time. Y'all ever notice that? It's prison time. But when it's these celebrities, the victims are always suing. It's always a money grab. Now, I know in R. Kelly case, of course, he got prison time. But I do believe that he was sued a couple times. I do believe that. So now this motion has spoke on the Jane, this first victim that goes by the name of Jane. And she claims that she was coerced into this. TT says Tarana Banks is the head of Me Too movement, and she's also an affiliated of Jigga. While Cosby had previously settled the civil case with Andrea Constant for $3.38 million, it was the non-prosecution agreement that ultimately led to his release from prison. Exactly. And we got to call a spade a spade. We know that the majority of these men that fall victim, the majority of these men that this happens to be black men. Shank, I'm pleased to hear you're reading this motion. There was a lot of corruption to convict him. If they had everything, why was illegal activity needed? Exactly. And shout out to Dana J, because Dana J made sure that I got these motions. So shout out to Dana J. And I do believe Dana J will be pulling up a little bit later. But this motion, now I'm not going to be able to read all 30 pages in this new trial motion, but I'll get through as much as I can. And whatever I don't get to, I will definitely do a part 2. And if I need to do a part 3, I will. If he's not guilty, let the innocent project get him off. Exactly. Jane is Rashonda L., the woman that people were saying was in the you know what tape, and comes to find out it's in the motion as well that's not even R. Kelly that's in that infamous tape. And I spoke on that on the last demonstration. But it's in the motion that's not even him. So let me jump back to more of the motion. I promise you it is. Okay, so TT says it is actually him. Drop a one if y'all believe that that's R. Kelly and that tape that's urinating on the minor. Drop a 1 if y'all believe that that's R. Kelly. Drop a 2 if you disagree. But let me get back to more of this motion for a new trial. It goes on to say, factual background, okay? In 2008, Jane specifically told a Cook County jury that she was not the person who appeared in the video. That is at the heart of the instant case. Trial TR Volume 5 at 913. It says, without her testimony, Robert Kelly was found not guilty. The only FBI analyst done on the videotape could not identify her as the person in the video. Exhibit A. For approximately 20 years, she never suggested anything to the contrary. However, as the Me Too movement heated up and surviving R. Kelly began to flicker in the eyes of prosecutors who saw him as the one that got away, something changed. That change did not come from Jane. She did not independently come forward and change her story. She did not participate in any aspect of surviving R. Kelly. I wonder why. She did not independently assert that she was the person depicted in any videotape. What changed was the tactics that prosecutors were willing to use to get her to change her story. Over the past year, the undersigned in his office have interviewed witnesses who have come forward and will testify under oath to the following facts about what happened to Jane. These are witnesses who were not available to the defense at the time of trial. I wonder why. People who actively avoided or refused to be questioned. In one instance, This is a witness who testified for the government at trial and was not willing to share the truth with defense counsel out of fear. Makes you wonder. There are other witnesses in whom Jane confided the truth after the trial ended. And of course, there is Jane herself. Let me backtrack. At a hearing on this matter, the defense will call Jane to the witness stand, along with other witnesses who will be identified for the court after the issue of recusal of the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Northern District of Illinois has been litigated. Those witnesses will finally provide the truth. Wow. A USA agent, Crawl, and accompanying federal agents pursued Jane after she indicated she did not wish to speak to them. They told Jane that if she did not change her story, her parents would both be charged with engaging in a criminal conspiracy with R. Kelly to obstruct justice. Wow. 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 Now they're indicating the parents, because I never could understand. And let me just say this. And we always said this. Many of us always felt this way. Why aren't the parents? Why hasn't the parents been charged? Why hasn't any of those relatives been charged? Because according to this motion of a new trial, it was all a part of the government. It was all a part of their master scheme and their tactics to bring down R. Kelly. So the threats started to come in. You know, okay, we won't arrest you. We won't press charges if you play ball. And when you play ball, you got to play on our team. I knew from the very beginning that this R. Kelly case was definitely shaky. It's more. It says, and I don't want to make sure I don't want to skip over anything. It says they told her that she had evidence of payments her mother and father received from Mr. Kelly. They told her that Crawl would use them to see that her parents were prosecuted in jail unless Jane would change her story and cooperate with the government as prosecutors pursued their desire to get R. Kelly and obtain his conviction. So now it just makes you really, okay, so we all knew that the parents were receiving payments from R. Kelly. Many believe, well, since the payments stopped, right? Many believe that that's why the parents was on board with the government. But there's more. It says, in addition to the threat, Crawl and others on the prosecution team further told Jane that would be able to receive a substantial financial award if she gave testimony that led to Mr. Kelly's conviction. That proved to be an outright lie, but it was told as truth, and Jane believed it. Faced with the threat that her aging parents would be jailed and the promise that she could get a life-altering financial award for giving testimony that led to a conviction, Jane agreed to change her story and go to the grand jury for the federal government. Her grand jury testimony in this case was the direct product of threat, intimidation, and coercion. Jane experienced it. She reported it to others. There will be no doubt. It happened. prosecutors compelled the primary witness in this case to change her prior sworn testimony under oath and claimed that she was formerly a perjurer by threatening her family with jail and promising her wealth. Yet that was just the start of the injustice that would be created by the effort to prosecute Robert Kelly in federal court in Chicago. The prosecutorial misconduct in the case got worse rather than better. After they got Mr. Kelly charged and held in custody at the Metropolitan Correctional Center in Chicago, the prosecution team enlisted Bureau of Prisons officers and cooperating witnesses to steal his correspondence with his lawyer and his private emails. The legal correspondence was used to gain an unfair and plainly unconstitutional advantage over Mr. Kelly by giving prosecutors insight into his strategy with his lawyers, to which the government had no right. The legal correspondence and the stolen private emails were further used to directly influence Jane and the person who would become the primary witness against Robert Kelly in New York, hereinafter as Jane N.Y. Now here comes the second Jane. That goes by the name of Jane N.Y. Now they played both of them by the stolen mail that his old cell buddy had stole. So it says, while Robert Kelly was being held in custody on federal charges, a series of crimes were committed. These crimes were not committed by Robert Kelly. They were not committed by anyone he associated with him prior to his incarceration. They were committed by Bureau of Prisons officials and cooperating witnesses authorized by the government. Like all inmates, Mr. Kelly's phone calls and emails were monitored by prison officials. However, in this instance, a Bureau of Prisons officer named Tawana Ingram was not listening to or monitoring Mr. Kelly's recorded calls and emails. She was instead stealing them. Wow. Specifically, Miss Ingram illegally accessed and stole a series of phone calls and emails regarding Mr. Kelly's relationship with a woman other than Jane or Jane N.Y. Miss Ingram was a special investigative services disciplinary officer who had no business dealing with any of Mr. Kelly's communications. She did not work at the facility at which Mr. Kelly was being housed and was not even supposed to have access to the system containing his emails and calls. Yet, somehow, she was allowed to gain access for the purpose of stealing Mr. Kelly's private communications, both emails and recorded telephone calls, including privileged communications with his lawyer. There is an ongoing civil suit regarding her conduct pending right now before Honorable Judge Bucklow in the Northern District of Illinois. Wow. Wow. The system is corrupt. If the girl said I wasn't her, why do people keep saying for a fact it was? Were you there? And that's a good question. I'll take that question. Now, some might say, Shane, how do we know what you is reading? Because I get this all the time. When I read what's in black and white, when I read official documents, even when I read official documents, I always get those that still question. How do we know that's true? right? So now you have R. Kelly. We got R. Kelly. R. Kelly got caught up in the Me Too movement, along with these other entertainers. He got caught up in it. From the beginning, and this is why I always say, let it play out. Because if he was screaming the same thing that he's screaming today, that they're trying to unalive me, they're playing with my freedom. He's been screaming this from day one. Up to now, we see. And if you can't see what they have just done to R. Kelly, we know that he didn't give himself the medication. The prison staff give him the medication. And even my man Dana J. And even, let me drop the link for Dana J. and anybody else that would like to come up to help me build with this case. Please feel free to come up. And even when the Duke Hospital says this man needs surgery. He needs a surgery ASAP. He got blood clots. They refuse surgery. They refuse surgery. TT says wasn't there, but someone was definitely there who I personally know, and her aunt Sparkle also confirmed it. Read the transcripts. The judge in this case is deceased now, was almost 100 years old. They used him. He was a former prosecutor on the bench and was biased. Yes, and we see that. Let me read some more from this motion for a new trial. It says, armed with illicit access that was granted to her by someone in the Department of Justice. Give me 1 second, y'all. Ingram stole emails and calls that were specifically inflammatory to Jane and Y. These were private conversations to which Jane and Y were not privy. They had no way to know the content of these conversations. Hence, they were targeted and stolen for the purpose of biasing witnesses against Robert Kelly and thereby helping the government make its case. Only persons with knowledge of the investigation would have known which emails and calls to target and steal for the purpose of influencing Jane and Y. The stolen communications included communications with his attorney at the time, and that's illegal. That's illegal, which were protected under the attorney-client privilege. On its own, this is a shameful abuse of a position of trust by a federal prison official for the purpose of influencing the case against Mr. Kelly, but it became far more insidious than that. Now, this is his old cell buddy, Kashan. I can't pronounce the last name, so I'll just say Kashan. This is his old cell buddy. Kashan, let me get back to where I was at. Kashan was Robert Selley's cellmate, both before he was transferred to New York to face trial there, and again months later when he came back to Metropolitan Correctional Center in Chicago after finishing his trial in New York. Give me 1 second. I'm going to add Dana J. And I'll give Dana J an opportunity to slide in after I finish up with this. It says, in the declaration attached as Exhibit B, the old cell buddy admits that he met with prosecutors and sought a reduced sentence in exchange for providing cooperation against Mr. Kelly. The old cellmate agreed to steal Mr. Kelly's written correspondence from their cell phone and provide it to prison officials, who would then give it to the United States attorneys handling the investigation against Mr. Kelly. The old cellmate was debriefed by AUSA Angel Crawl and agreed to provide this cooperation. AUSA Crawl was also the person to whom the stolen correspondence was ultimately provided. Make no mistake, it is a crime for one inmate to steal the legal correspondence of another. That is theft. It is a separate crime for AUSA Crawl and BOP officials who help to direct the theft and utilize the stolen privileged legal correspondence. That is obstruction to justice. Let my man Dana J slide in and eat off of this. Dana J, talk to me.
Man, it's been hold on. Man, it's been crazy all week since them joints been dropping. And again, I just dropped another joint today that Joy came out. Actually, I had to get her to just tell the truth. And Joy came out and said that her parents were lying. She's not a victim. She's not held captive. And you seen it on my live. And she looked very happy, very happy. And she said that they getting married and all that. So, I mean, hey, it's crazy. But about what you're talking about, man, this BOP joint, I raised the alarm on this 4 years ago. And I don't know if you remember when I kept saying, don't let them die in jail. And everybody was saying, why are you saying that? And I said, I can't say nothing right now. But I can't say nothing right now. And because at the end of the day, if I say something, they're going to off them. So it's like, once I started saying that, then it got to the text messages and with Tasha K and Larry McGee and all them. So I just had to be I had to be Baltimore-ish, but I had to infiltrate some stuff. And when I did that, I was like, oh, this is here, this is there. And I found out where the bones was at. So then when I found out where the bones was at, I started collecting them. I became the bone collector then. And then, but I hit up Bo Brindley and I said, Bo, here's the format. Here's the hard drive. Take whatever you want out of it. Once you finish, just give me my hard drive back. 2 days after that, motion started dropping left and right. Boom, 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 boom. Then they went to go do interviews and stuff like that. And when they went to go do the interview with the guy that was stealing all of his mail.
The old cellmate?
Yeah. When the guy was stealing all his mail. But I told Bro Brindley, but I said, I can attest to that because it's weird because one of the letters that I wrote to Rob was read on the internet.
Wow.
And I'm like, how's y'all getting my letters? And you supposed to be for Rob, but you in cahoots with the guys that's taking from him. So then I just said, you know what? I'm kicking the door all the way in. And I became the bad guy of the R. Kelly sector, even though that's my sector, but I became the bad guy. And I told him, I don't care. I embrace it. And because y'all not going to do this to my guy, but I mean, y'all fans, I know the nigga. So it's like, I know what he's capable of. I know what he's going to do. And Rob can't lie like that for a long period of time. He'll crack and be like, all right, yo, I did it. But I knew that this was serious. And people's like, oh, no, that's not serious. That's not true. That's not true. Listen, when you incarcerated, and I haven't been to the feds as far as being incarcerated, but I have been incarcerated in the state. And matter of fact, you know, as a juvenile, I stayed incarcerated like every other week. But I've been like that. But when you get a death threat from an official, you can't play with that, bro. When an official tell you, don't eat the food, are you going to eat the food? No, the official might be alarming you to something that is going on or something that he overheard. My thing is, and I don't think you got to this part yet, so I ain't gonna really elaborate on it. And that's on a 30, and it's on a 30-page motion. The man had to go to Duke University because the jail that he's in, Butner, couldn't do nothing for him.
Right. And I'm only on page 8, but go ahead, Dana.
Are you on page 8?
Yeah, I'm only on page 8.
All right. But the guy had to go to, Rob had to go to University of Duke Hospital. He had but matter of fact, he got 2 blood clots in his chest and a bunch in his leg, right? From that point, they called and the doctor said, we're going to have to operate on him and keep him here for the minimum of 10 days. Butner come with rifles pointing at him and remove him at gunpoint. And don't even take him back to medical. They put him in a hole.
That's facts.
If that's not attempt murder, then what is it?
That's facts. Let me read this super chat real quick. Appreciate this super chat, Nikki. Nikki says, Shank and Rockswell, anyone who believes he's innocent, hit my Cash App. I'm also selling the Baltimore Ravens for a good price. Payoffs and mental illness is real. Pedo is a crime. Appreciate that, Nikki Lynn.
Nikki, can I address that real quick for you, sweetie? To be a pedophile, and you have to love only children, 12 years or younger, pre-pubescent. The judge even ruled that he's not a pedophile. So if the judge is ruling that he's not a pedophile, if the therapist that get paid to diagnose people is ruling that he's not a pedophile, why do we continually to sit back and call him a pedophile? I'm just asking the question. Because what I see on the internet is a lot of people that say lock R. Kelly up is saying free Diddy. And you see videos and everything of Diddy, you ain't really see nothing of Rob. And what people going to say, oh, I seen the infamous P tape. I have the pictures of who it really is in the Colorado room. Damon Pryor sent me the pictures himself and marked them. And I was like, yo. So at the end of the day, we got to stop. And I'm going to use the term that I don't like to use. And we got to stop putting our own black people down. But in reality, I can't expect black people to do nothing but act like dead folks, since black means death. So let's practice on, if you're wrong, let's go ahead and do as the community does and let people know that they're wrong. But if you look at what just happened in California, let's just say Robert was a pedophile. In California, pedophilia is not a crime no more. They made it an illness. So what they saying is that you can no longer do criminal jail time for being a pedophile. You only can go to the hospital and you only get 30 days or more. 30 days or less, I'm sorry. So at the end of the day, a lot of people on the internet is going off of hearsay. Oh, my brother said that R. Kelly did this and did that and did that and did that. Only one person in this chat I can vouch for, and that's TT. That's somebody I seen on a constant basis in Chicago. So I can't sit back and say, like, yo, this, because every time I was in Chicago with Rob and we went to go see Miss McGlynn, TT was there.
Shout out to TT. Let me go to page 8, all right, and then I'm gonna come back with more from Dana J. Let me go to page 8 of this motion for the new trial. It says his cellmate would routinely take Mr. Kelly's mail while Kelly was at a visit or somewhere else in the facility. In particular, he made a point of stealing Mr. Kelly's legal mail that was written to his lawyers. These were letters that were marked legal mail by Mr. Kelly. This was the intentional theft of attorney-client correspondence, which violated Mr. Kelly's constitutional rights and gave the government unauthorized access to his strategy into confidential facts to which they were not entitled. That's a crime. That's a crime. And I'm going to come back, and me and Dana J going to build on that part of this as far as the government getting access to the legal mail of R. Kelly. That's a crime. It says, the stolen mail was then handed off to Special Investigations Officer Luke Selby at MCC, who copied it and gave back the original for the cellmate. I can't pronounce the cellmate last name, so that's why I'm saying for the cellmate to return to the cell such that Mr. Kelly would never know it was gone. The copy. You want to come in, Dana?
It's Monica Dubé.
Monica Dubé?
Yeah.
All right. It says where we at? That stolen mail was then handed off to Special Investigations Officer Luke Selby at MCC, who copied it and gave back the original for Mr. Mondamundi to return to the cell such that Mr. Kelly would never know it was gone. The copy of this stolen correspondence was ultimately provided to AUSA Carl. The stolen correspondence included information about Mr. Kelly's relationship with another woman, which was to be kept secret from Jane and Jane NY, as it would create a serious jealousy problem in their relationships with Kelly. No one besides Mr. Kelly and his attorney had access to that information. After Mr. Kelly's communications were stolen without his knowledge by a combination of Officer Ingram, Officer Selby, and Mr. Mondungamdi, these stolen communications were provided by prosecutors to a cooperating government informant named Larry McGee, who was also offering to cooperate in exchange for a reduced sentence. In social media videos, McGee has admitted spending hours coercing witnesses to turn against Robert Kelly by showing them his calls and emails. He has admitted getting people to lie about Robert Kelly. In November of 2018, with the full knowledge of AUSA Carl, Jane went to Los Angeles for the purpose of meeting with individuals that Carl contended would be helpful in preparing her to testify. In reality, at that time, Jane had no intention of ever going through with trial testimony against Mr. Kelly, but she was not sharing that with the prosecutors that threatened her parents. Slide in, Dana J.
All right. You want me to get commentary or you want me to read?
No, come in however you want to come in. It's on you.
All right. Let me give y'all a little narrative real quick. Jane by itself is Rashonda Landfair. Jane, New York is Azriel Clary. So Larry McGee is the informant that we all be battling on the internet. Okay, so she went to Los Angeles anyway, as that is what she understood she was supposed to do. When Jane got to California, the person who met her was Larry McGee. McGee took her to a residence. At that residence, McGee introduced Jane, which is Rashonda Landfair, to Jane, New York, Azriel Clary. He then proceeded to talk to both extensively about why they should testify about Robert Kelly and all the government would do for them if they did. McGee showed Jane Rashona and Jane Azriel stolen emails and letters that were sent from Robert Kelly to his lawyer. Jane saw the letters and remembers them explicitly. Those letters reference Mr. Kelly's relationship with another woman, which is Joy. That was neither Jane nor Jane New York. These letters and emails engendered anger in both Jane and Jane New York. They both begin to talk about how Mr. Kelly had been secretly having relationships with each of them behind the other's back. This conversation and the review of the letters between Robert and his lawyer compelled Jane to become extremely angry at Mr. Kelly. Jane has indicated that she would never have testified against Mr. Kelly at trial had she not had this conversation with Jane Azriel Clary, and had she not seen the letters and messages between Mr. Kelly and his lawyer. As a result of this conduct, Larry McGee was rewarded a cooperation agreement, a 5K1 letter, the third one from the government, and an incredibly light sentence of 18 months despite federal charges. Larry McGee charges he stole $1.6 million from banks. He stole $1.6 million from banks. Then he got caught and he ran and told on both of his co-defendants. One was his best friend and one was a man named Adam Arenas that was financing him and his wife family. And then he used them two cases. Then he used another case. Then he went and used R. Kelly case just to get 18 months. He only did 10 months in jail, and the other, my fault. He did 5 months in jail, and the others he did on house arrest. Now he's on 5-year probation. His sentencing transcript was redacted, so no one would know what he did or how he obtained the material to influence Jane and Rashona and Jane Azriel. Exhibit C. Let's go here. His paperwork was redacted for 33 pages. The first 33 pages is black. So Jane has informed that it was McGee. I'm going to say it again. Jane, Rashona Landfair, has confirmed that it was McGee who put her and Jane New York together in Los Angeles. It was McGee who showed them letters and emails between Mr. Kelly and his lawyers. Jane knows this because she experienced it. The government thought they could hide their illicit conduct behind a sealed sentence and transcript to which Mr. Kelly and his defense team have been denied access. But Jane's personal experience exposes them anyway. All of this information about stolen communications been given to cooperating witnesses. Larry McGee, by prosecutors, was kept from the defense. The theft of Mr. Kelly's legal mail by Motogadubi, and its provision to prosecutors was kept from the defense. The meeting between the two primary witnesses and the New York and Chicago cases, which was facilitated by a cooperating witness working for the U.S. attorneys from whom he sought a reduced sentence, was kept from the defense. During Mr. Kelly's trial in New York, prosecutors advised his attorneys that they had just been made aware of an investigation into a theft of some of Mr. Kelly communications. The prosecutor said the investigation was ongoing and they had no other information provided. They contended to have no knowledge of who had stolen the communications and what was done with them. When Mr. Kelly asked to have time to investigate to see if this could influence the case against him, prosecutors claimed they had no other information to provide. None of that was true. In reality, at the time, federal prosecutors in New York claimed a lack of knowledge about the investigation of stolen communications. The truth was that a search warrant for Tawana Ingram's home and electronic devices had already been executed. The application for that warrant identified undeniable evidence that she stole Mr. Kelly's communications. That's the lady that stole R. Kelly communications and sent it to Tasha K, and then everybody started getting it from Tasha K. The search of her residence confirmed it. All of that information was in possession of federal prosecutors who denied having it. Also in their possession was the attorney-client mail stolen by Mr. Mudagadadi, which was used by Mr. McGee, Larry McGee, to influence witnesses against Mr. Kelly. This too was hidden from Mr. Kelly and his lawyers. Consequently, Mr. Kelly lacked the ability to attack the central witnesses against him based on a bias that was intentionally generated through the use of privileged communications stolen by a federal officer and trafficked to a cooperating informant by federal prosecutors and agents. The legal mail stolen by a cellmate working for the government who trafficked the purloined letters to prisoner officers, who gave it to federal prosecutors, who then provided it to cooperating witnesses that will bring Jane, Rashona Landfair, and Jane Azriel Clary together to collude against Mr. Kelly at his urging. Go ahead, Shank.
And see, this is how they work now, and we've seen it in real time. We've even seen it in the movies. When you're dealing with corrupted cops, when you're dealing with a system that's corrupted, when it comes to they target, and it's what it spoke about early on, when it comes to them hitting they target, they're going to break all kind of laws because it's already embedded in them that what they're doing is right. Let's look at how they put R. Kelly out in the forefront. Let's look at how they crucified him. Once they crucified him, once they projected this certain type of image of R. Kelly, any and everything that they done, the majority of the people really didn't do their homework and didn't investigate it and look into it because they had already crucified him. They already painted this negative image of him.
Yeah,
so
wrong.
So whatever they done, whatever methods they used to convict him, it all went out the window. Well, it don't matter, Shank, because he's this, he's that. If we're going to stick with the law, if we're going to go by the law, you cannot violate an inmate's law. Let's focus on what's in front of us. All right. Let's not go over here. Let's not go over there. Was it justified for his cell buddy to steal his legal mail? Let's start there, Dana. Yes or no? Was it justified?
I'm sorry, and repeat that question.
What was it justified for R. Kelly's cellmate to steal his mail, his correspondence mail between him and his attorney? Was that justified? Was that right for him to do that?
No.
No.
Right.
Bingo. Now we got to look at, why did he steal the mail? Did he steal the mail for his own personal gratifications, his own no. Why did he steal his mail, Dana J? Specifically for the government.
Not just that, but it was giving him a lighter sentence too.
And that's what his reward was, to get a lighter sentence. So now you have the government, and I'm gonna let you come in, Dana J. You have the government. It's chess. They playing chess. So now you got the government. They know the moves that R. Kelly's defense team is going to make. So they able to intercept any move that the defense team attempt to even throw at them. They didn't already intercepted it. And we wonder why the feds have that high cop-out percentage rate. Come in, Dana J. Come on.
Oh, you caught me because I was about to say something, but you ain't get to that page yet. They're going to explain, and this, Bo Brindley actually explains why the government didn't prosecute the government. And it gets ugly. I'm telling you, that whole thing, it gets ugly after that point. After the point that I just stopped at, it gets real ugly. But I'm going to say this. The government, Rashonda Landfair, and I'm gonna break these numbers down to you. Just like I told my folks, if you've been in the hood in Chicago and you never been nowhere, right? You never been nowhere. The government come in and say, I know you said it wasn't you on the first tape. We can't prove that it's you. We can't even play the tape because the chain of custody has been broken so many times. So we can't do that. But what we can do is we can bring you in as a Jane Doe. We can pseudonym in your name, and we can take your testimony and put it as Bible. And she said, no, I'm not going to do it. Okay. This is how the government play. They paid her father a visit. And I tell everybody, the 3 letters for the alphabet boys play and specialize in heart attacks. They paid the father the visit, and the father was the bass player for R. Kelly. He declined to even talk to him. That was Rashonda Landfair covering blanket. After he meet with the feds, he died 2 days later of a heart attack. Watch this. The feds come back and return the favor and pull up on Rashonda again. So much to the point that Angel Cruel gets comfortable and labels herself R. Kelly Destroyer, and then label her Mama Bear. From that point, she tells Rashonda, I can give you unlimited Section 8 in any state you want to go to. So Rashonda say, if I testify against R. Kelly, I got to move because Chicago ain't going to play with me. So they move her, and she end up going downtown LA with Section 8. She don't got to pay nothing for the rest of her life. On top of that, they give her unlimited EBT, what we know as food stamps in the hood, at $3,700 a month for her and her son. Now wait, a lot of people can't get $10, but she getting $3,700 just to say that it was her. That's not enough. They offer her a $20 million bag. Now, let me ask you this question. If you never been out the hood and you never had over $1,500 and somebody giving you $20 million, what are you going to say?
You're going to jump on it.
And they unalive your dad. What are you going to say?
You're going to jump on it.
And they giving you Section 8 and they giving you EBT. What are you going to say? On top of that, that's all you got to do is say, it was me on the tape. Yes, he did this. I'm going to give you a playbook and you run it down. And she did it. Pause. The problem was Sparkle came out and said, my niece is lying. Hold on. You can't have one without the other. Now, Sparkle, you got mad. And I'm going to put it out there. I'm going to give y'all some exclusive now. And TT, if I'm lying, tell me I'm lying. Sparkle got mad because Rob decided not to bring her back to the label. But Earl from Public Announcement was dealing with Sparkle. Earl got mad because he wanted to lead Honey Love. Everybody else was like, no, Rob wrote it. Let Rob lead it. Rob and Earl got into it. Rob turned around and wrote When a Woman's Fed Up. And went and brought the overalls that work, but that Earl wear to work. And in the video, When a Woman's Fed Up. And then start sleeping with Sparkle. So, with that being said, Earl said, man, I'm gone. Earl ends up meeting Sparkle's backup dancer named Javante Cunningham, who on Surviving R. Kelly, if you look at the last one, she ended up and say, I slept with R. Kelly. Hold on, pause. He wouldn't even look at you. Then you said, I seen him violate Aaliyah. Wait, Rob is private. He don't do nothing in public. My thing is, some people talking about, oh no, but they couldn't use the bathroom, this and this. Let me ask you this question. If I come in your house, don't I gotta sit down and wait to be led to the bathroom? Ain't that your rule? Or can I just walk in your house and just go straight to the bathroom, wash my hands, and then go in your refrigerator, then walk all around your house and make myself at home?
Everybody's house rule is the same. Sit your funky ass down until I give you permission to go here, to go there, to do this, to do that. When Michael Strahan was asking that question to his assistant, I felt as though Michael Strahan was reaching. You know, so you mean to get the fuck out of here? You ain't coming in my house. I don't give a damn who your funk ass is. You ain't coming up in here moving around how you want to move around. Come on back in, Dana.
TT, I got to say correct. Nikki Lynn, I would love to debate you on my channel because I'm going to show you all facts and I'm going to put them on the screen so that way you can just look at it and be like, wow. Here's my thing. Let me break some stuff down to y'all real quick. Colorado room, because Nikki Lynn, I heard you, but I watched you say, oh no, R. Kelly peed on the little girl. Excuse me. I had the lady on my channel. It wasn't a little girl. What happened was the person that was being urinated on, her name is Birdie. Birdie is almost 52 years old. Robert is 58. What they did was they tried to overtake the lenses and they tried to put Rashona face on Birdie's body. I have all that too. And Shank, and I sent it to you. But I have it in Polaroid breakdown because I actually was the one that had to go pick up the Polaroids and the breakdown from the dark room. That's how I found out that's somebody else's face right there. That's somebody else right there. Listen, they did all they can to try to get Robert. Technically, what Robert is sitting in jail for is double jeopardy. And because the state couldn't prove it, but it's not double jeopardy because the feds picked it up. But then watch this. Cook County had a lady by the name of what's the lady that looked like for the lady prosecutor? What is her name? And the one that's part of Me Too and Time's Up and Color Change. What is her name? Shoot. Anyway, she had many meetings with Michael Avenatti and other people from the feds. And they strategized and lied about how to get this stuff. The tapes that Michael Avenatti sent over, and this is not hearsay, I was in court for this. The tapes that Michael Avenatti sent over, the first tape wasn't a tape, it was a CD. And they couldn't open it in court, and the judge got mad. The second DVD, it only played 7 seconds, and it was like it was being manipulated because it showed Rob walking into frame, then walking back out, then another girl walking in and walking back out, and then Rob doing jumping jacks, then it cut off. In New York, people talking about it was 101 devices. It was one audio play. I mean, 2 audios played in one video. The audio that was played was Rob saying, get your A over there. You stole from me. Sit in the corner. And they heard a slap. So they looked at that as he was punishing or threatening the lady. The lady name was Lisa Van Allen, a known liar. I'm going to get to her too. The 2 videos, Rob was directing another male into having sex with another female. Both are grown, well grown. They charged him with directing porn on adults. Pause. If you're going to charge Robert for directing porn on adults, why is Cakey? Why is Pinky? Why is all the porn stars out there getting paid for being directed to have porn? And it's not a crime. On top of that, why these directors not being charged with the Mann Act? Because the females got to fly from their state that they live in over to the filming place to have sex, right? That's the Mann Act. So the problem is a lot of people run with narratives that's not there. Then somebody said, oh no, he obstructed his case. Well, he was found not guilty for obstruction. That's what the case was about. Nikki Lynn said, I don't buy into conspiracy theories. And this would have to be a huge one for all these people from the beginning of Aaliyah to conspire to take down Kelly. Well, let me help you unknow the lies that you've been told, Nikki. Once again, I was in court. They brought the man that's in charge of the birth certificate office, the man that's in charge of the marriage certificate office, and the man that's in charge of everything you got to do to sign off in Chicago. They never had a legit marriage certificate for Aaliyah. Now, let me break this down. The fake marriage between Leah and Robert was that was supposed to be the original album cover, and for Age Ain't Nothing But a Number. And when Miss Diane changed it at the last minute, Barry Hankinson told Robert, if you ever fire me as a manager, I will own you, and I will make sure you never have a good life. And he meant that. So when you start talking these crazy things, and you got to understand, if Robert ain't never asked for his masters, Robert wouldn't be in jail.
I said that.
Right now, Robert is owed $17.6 billion, which means what? He will own music. And excuse my French, and this going to offend a lot of people. Them Caucasian folks ain't having no nigga run their music program.
Facts. That's facts. Appreciate your new membership, Jaquetta. Let me slide into the motion for disqualification of the recusal.
Okay.
All right. Now, this is, I'm going to read to you all the motion for disqualification or recusal. All right. It says, let me grab this super chat. Appreciate the super chat, Tanya. Appreciate that super chat, Tanya. Good dialogue, Shank. It says, comes now defendant Robert Sylvester Kelly by and through counsel, Burl B. Bridley, and hereby moves this honorable court for an order disqualifying or requiring the recusal of the entire U.S. Attorney's Office for the Northern District of Illinois from further participation in this case. In support of his motion, Mr. Kelly states the following. As the court is aware, Robert Kelly has recently filed a motion for new trial based on newly discovered evidence, DKT.498. In substantial part, this motion is based on supported allegations of misconduct by assistant United States attorneys and other Department of Justice employees involved in the investigation and prosecution of this case. Mr. Kelly incorporates the factual predicate and supporting exhibits from that motion without setting it forth again here. As a result of one, the constitutional violations and criminal actions by, I think that's Illinois AUSAs has been alleged in Mr. Kelly's motion. Two, the government misconduct that has been shown to have occurred by sworn statements of other individuals provided by the court by Mr. Kelly. And three, the need to fully investigate these occurrences and to hold an
evidentiary
hearing in which they can be fairly evaluated by the court. The U.S. Attorney's Office for the Northern District of Illinois has an
irreconcilable
conflict of interest and cannot be permitted to participate further in this case. Appreciate you for helping me out, Dana J.
No, bro.
Page 2.
That's enough right there.
You want to build off that?
Yeah, you definitely can build off that.
Slide in, Dana.
Man, listen. Pretty much what they are saying is that everything that Mr. Kelly alleged, the government never came back and denied. The government came back with a motion and said he's a pedophile. Wait a minute. You ain't denying nothing that's in these motions. On top of that, there's evidence of everything that they're saying. And when I found out who Officer A was, the DOJ threatened to shut my page down. Thank God I ain't do it on my main page. So I'm gonna say this. That right there is crazy because you never hear of a whole office being asked to withdraw from a case. And if, matter of fact, and this page is only 6 pages long. Trust me, it ain't that long. But when Shank get to it, Bo Brindley tells you why. Because if one of your officers is complicit, that whole office is complicit. And then on top of that, it's in the government, it's in the Constitution, and I ain't know it until I read that if you appoint the United States Attorney's Office as a problem, they got to vacate the case until they find out the truth. And guess what? Angel Cruel is no longer in Chicago. She has been promoted, and you're going to read that in a few minutes. She has been promoted to Connecticut as one of the head officers. Miss Geddes left after the R. Kelly case in New York. She left. And then when she went to Chicago, after that, she left the AUSA office altogether and opened up her own firm in New York. Let's make this make sense. Let's take R. Kelly out this for a second. Let's think about how many other people has been done like this that has been silenced because they didn't have the money or they didn't have the clout or the status. So now you don't know what to believe because now you have rogue judges like Ann Donnelly that told R. Kelly, I don't care what the verdict was. I was giving you 35 years because my husband broke up with me because of your music. How would you feel if an industry built you up and then when they got tired of you, they helped put you away? How would you feel to know that Shank Rock is Shank Rock, but the industry built them up for 31 years as being a sex symbol, and people can't differentiate in between Shank Rock the person and Shank the entertainer? These are conversations that need to be had in the community and in the schools. And I apologize if I make people upset, but I don't apologize for speaking the truth. And my thing is this. Everybody know I was saying Diddy is guilty. I've been saying that for a long time until I went to New York. And when I went to New York, I got to sit in trial. And I got to see how some of these people were coerced and lied by the government. I said, oh, Diddy might be guilty of this, but he's innocent of that. And he's guilty of this, but he's innocent of that. Now, the problem is, have they filed a RICO? Yes. If the government come back any more in Diddy case is overkill. They have
messing with me, Dana J. You messing with me, but go ahead, Dana J. Because you know, I still don't believe that the government has proved the RICO case against Baby Oil Man. But I'll let you finish cooking. But go ahead and finish cooking.
Listen, but the government has proved the RICO. Now, here's the question. Is it strong enough that the defense can't knock it down?
That's a good point. Good point.
See what I'm saying now?
Good point. Good point.
On top of that, the government was conspiring with Robert Kelly's so-called friends to get certain lawyers off the case and replace them with E-list lawyers. So now you get a Jennifer Bonjean but that's knocking down all of his civil cases and part of the Supreme team for the Supreme Court. And then you got Bo Brinley, and what up, BJ? Then you got Bo Brinley that's knocking out all the criminal cases. At this point, everybody that was against R. Kelly, when y'all find out what y'all finding out now, that it was all a lie, are you willing to grab your loins and your intestinal fortitude and say, you know what, I was wrong against this guy. Let's take a stand to protect him.
And see, for me, and not to cut you off, Dan Jake, for me, I've been watching for over 30 years how the government works. We can go back to the civil rights era and how they played all of our civil rights movement organizations, how they played and sent informants to infiltrate and had you believing, well, let's start with the Black Panthers, had this group of Black Panthers believing this group of Black Panthers was coming to run down on them. Wow. Because they had informants sending letters, right, to that group of the Black Panthers, made it seem like the letter was coming from this group of the Black Panthers, right? So now you got these Black Panthers from each group tearing each other's heads off based on
all behind a lie.
A lie. You go to the Nation of Islam. You have Brother Malcolm assassinated, and for all these years, it was believed that it was the nation that took him out. But the autopsy report on Malcolm X, the bullets came from
up above.
Up above.
Yeah.
So it's not far-fetched to see the same tactics that they used on us 40, 50 years ago is the same tactics that they're using on us now. I say free R. Kelly and free Baby Oil Man because they are guilty. Yes, they are. Baby Oil Man, he's guilty of domestic violence. He is. But racketeering, Sammy the Bull, whom was a hitman for the mafia. Sammy the Bull said that RICO that they got for Baby Oil Man, that's what they put on the books to bring us down.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, where did the government prove Baby Oil Man was moving like the mafia?
Now watch this, Shank. Not to cut you off.
Because I'm gonna let you come. Well, you come on in, because I don't know where you're going at. Come on in.
I'm just gonna piggyback. They actually said in court, this is not a traditional RICO. A RICO has been modified within the last 3 years. So how can you modify a RICO? And then on top of that, let's go here. They changed the laws in New York and Chicago to get Diddy and others, because Fat Joe next.
They on Fat Joe head now.
I'm telling you, Fat Joe next. And to get Fat, but they got video evidence of Fat Joe. I mean, they got thousands of videos of him. But they changed the laws for R. Kelly in Chicago. Then they changed the laws for Diddy in New York. But the sleeper cell is this: Abercrombie and Fitch, who was 70 years old, was deemed unfit to stand trial because of his age. Now, how old was Bill Cosby when he got locked up? And I don't mean to make this a race thing, right? Because somebody gonna say, "Oh no, this is not about black and white." First of all, black and white is not a race. They are shades. So you're never seen a black person and you never seen a white person. They are shades. However, what I am saying, the basis of your revenue, the basis of your monetary gain, the basis of your generational wealth depends on where you sit at in the court of law. And if your generational wealth, like Abercrombie and Fitch, stretches 62 generations, you ain't going nowhere.
That's facts. That's facts.
Robert Kelly is a illiterate nigger from the hood who just can sing. And on top of that, he write differently. He don't write nothing down by hand. He can draw his ass off. Excuse my French. But he used video recorders to record his songs and ideas. You have Diddy. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. Diddy got cooked last week. All week, he got cooked.
Why you pushing me, Dana?
No.
Why you pushing me for this debate, Dana J?
No, Shank, because I'm about to give you some facts.
Let me read my super chat. Appreciate the super chat, Tanya J. Deep driving, Shank. Appreciate that. Why you keep pushing me, Dana J? Look, I know I'm old, Dana J, but why you keep pushing me? You gonna bring me out of retirement? Come on, Dana. Come on.
I promise you I'm not.
Come on.
But listen, if you know them people, once you behind bars, and I'm saying this because Charlucci watching, which is Diddy's designer and for Sean John and all that. And I said this to Charlucci: when you know them people want you and they doing everything to get you, you don't help them. You don't help them in any way. And last week, every day, if your last name was Combs, you helped the government. Now, if they didn't have RICO, now they got RICO. And see, and I didn't get a chance to talk to Shank about this because I was so angry. You violate the judge's orders not once, but 5 times in a row. They're going to make you RICO now. And because they saying, if you are influencing the jury, how we know you didn't influence the witnesses? And that's just, you can't have your son come in with a free Sean Combs shirt and a sheer see-through black shirt over top of it, and then your son get kicked out of the court for that. You can't do that.
That's true.
And because now you're aggravating in the court and you're setting precedents that you don't abide by rules. So now they're going to pick something just to make an example out you. And it's not fair.
That's true.
One thing about me, I'm about right or wrong. If Diddy did some stuff, which I know he did something to one of my friends, and I'm gonna drop my friend name, Q of Day 26, a well friend of mine. That Q got to have therapy 3 times a week for the rest of his life. So I know Diddy did some stuff. And when they proved the RICO, I was like, ooh, but is it strong enough to hold after the defense break it down? Nikki Lynn, what I'm saying is R. Kelly is innocent for what he's charged of. Ain't no man innocent of nothing, but of nothing. Everybody has done something. And I ain't gonna lie. A lot of us men have lied to women to get what we wanted. And if you get with a guy, but I say he didn't do it, walk away because he's lying. All of us has did it. All of us has lied to a woman and to get what we wanted to get. Just like y'all women. Y'all lie to us men to get what y'all want. And after that taste tester, you decide then, do I want to stay or do I want to go? Was it right that Robert lied to women? No. But let's keep it real. How many of them women, now watch this, this was going to paralyze a lot of people. How many of them of-age women, I'm going to say it again, how many of them of-age women stayed after Robert said, I got many girlfriends? Now watch this.
We spoke on that yesterday. Let me read this from Dread. Appreciate that Dread. Dread says Diddy makes R. Kelly look like a saint. Diddy did men, women, and children. JB and you are for starters. Come on back in, Dana.
Watch this. I was just about to go there. You got R. Kelly. The book was thrown at him, right? Now, what if I told you that R. Kelly charges were Diddy original charges and Diddy original charges were R. Kelly original charges? Because the RICO in New York that Diddy got, most of that falls under obstruction. And look at it. Somebody that alluded to be under R. Kelly's camp, Don Russell, called in a bomb threat of a surviving R. Kelly screening. So why Rob wasn't charged with just obstruction the way Diddy's was formed? I'm going to tell you why. Rob is not part of the boule.
Uh-oh. Duck. He going deep down a rabbit hole.
Rob is not part of the boule. And the main gatekeeper for the boule is Jay-Z.
Duck, y'all. He going deep.
Now, this. If you really want to know truth, Surviving R. Kelly was funded by Jay-Z and instrumentalized by Dream Hampton, who was Jay-Z's old girlfriend. If you really want to go deep, Tamara Simmons was a talent agent scout here in Atlanta. And she came out and said, I sat with the girls. These are grown women, but I sat with the girls 1 year and taught them how to cry on T before they got in front of the camera. If you are a victim, why do you need to sit with a talent coach? That's my question. If you are a victim, why do you need to sit with a talent coach? Alexander Hanna, you know a little something.
Oh, head. That's old head right there. Alexander, old head right there now.
So like I say, when the boule is after you, the boule is after you. Now, Diddy problem, he got boule problems and he got mafia problems. Because the music industry is ran by 3 mafia heads: the Russian mafia, the Italian mafia, and this mafia that nobody hear about called the gatekeepers, which we know that Clive Davis is one of the unknowns. That's all you got to do is sit back and watch what's going on. Why is Ray J acting out all of a sudden when his name got called? If it ever comes out that Ray J was the drug mule and the assistant to unaliving Whitney Houston, what you think is going to happen to Ray J?
Yes, Lord.
Why you think Brandy disassociated herself from Ray J?
You cooking.
Watch this. Watch this. A man, Nikki Lynn, that's fine. Sweetie, listen. One thing I want you to know, Nikki Lynn, and I put this on my soul. I'm not going to stand behind a man that I know is victimizing people. My mouth is too deadly and my hands fly. And I ain't scared of nobody. But I'm going to tell you this right here. I can honestly say Robert was a good old man. What these people wanted, he paid for. Faith wanted new boobs, he paid for. Azriel wanted new boobs, he paid for it. The last thing that Robert said to me 2 days before he got locked up, he said, Dana, is this all I'm good for? Just to pay for new bodies and then they turn on me? I'm gonna give you a fact, Nikki Lynn, because you say he got victims, right? Geronda Pace was dealing with Bubba, was sexing Bubba, was having threesomes with Bubba. R. Kelly was in Africa. Bubba was supposed to have been a housekeeper in Chicago and Olympia Fields. Answer this question. How you jump over a gate, go into R. Kelly's house, you lay on his bed, you play with his dog, then you get out and jump over the gate, run down the street to your uncle's house, get some shoes and a jacket, come back and jump over the gate, and R. Kelly's not even home, but R. Kelly is being charged. Can you make this make sense to me? You have 3 different government IDs with 3 different ages. I ain't say regular IDs, I said government IDs. You have people that plant people just to make you look bad. So I'm just saying, you can say he got victims. I'm gonna say this: a willing participant can't be a victim, and one man ain't no enterprise. So until you can break that down, I'm going to continue speaking for my guy. Until you can tell me how all that is possible, I'm gonna continue speaking for my guy.
And make sure everybody subscribes to Dana J. He has a mean catalog of demonstrations on R. Kelly. Make sure everybody subscribes to Dana J and go and check his work out. He's cooking tonight. So you can imagine if he's cooking on my platform, you can imagine how he cooks on his own platform. Once again, make sure everybody subscribes to official Dana J. Let Mel slide in for a few minutes. Come on in, Mel.
Salute, Shane. Salute, Dana.
Hey,
and I wanted to tell you that there's a content creator out of DC named Mike. And I followed him as he drove to New York. He just wanted to capture outside of the trial. I saw you. You walked by his camera. Mm-hmm. He was out there early in the morning before everybody started going in. So I saw you and infamous Sylvia and a few other people that he picked up on his camera. He picked up a lot of content creators that I was familiar with on his camera. And you walked by him.
I did an interview. I'm the only one that interviewed him.
Did you interview him that day?
Yeah.
For your channel, right?
No, I interviewed him that day for my channel, but I haven't dropped the interview yet. But I interviewed him that day about 11:40 in the morning.
Oh, okay. So yeah, it was a few of y'all that he only interviewed 2 people that I saw, but I wanted to tell you that I saw you walk by the camera.
Thank you so much.
But I just wanted to say a few things and I'm gonna drop down. But Shank, I think I sent this to you in TikTok. But this I'm gonna just tell this story, and it's true. I saw the video, but sometimes you can't share a lot of stuff. But if you're a TikToker, this guy that be on TikTok. He's like this anonymous guy. He always wears a mask, and he kind of like sits in the dark with just a little bit of light. You know what I'm talking about? That guy. So he posted this video where he was invited to Paisley Park by Prince. And so he goes to Paisley Park, and Prince videographer goes in Prince's elevator. They go down like three stores down. I don't even know how big Paisley Park is, but it must be really big. But so they go down to Prince's control room. This was like a couple of months before Prince died. Did you see that? You saw that video? Did you believe that? I did. I mean, it was insane. You talking about the one with Clive Davis pouring the baby oil on Puff Daddy after he sent Diddy through this like ritual? Is that the one you're talking about?
Yeah, I'm
Did
talking
you
about
see that? What?
I'm talking
Do me
about
a
that one.
favor.
What?
Quiet those funky ass crickets that we hear in the background.
I'm sorry. Sometimes I sit on my porch because it gets cold in the house. Let me go in. But it's too humid to turn off the AC. But Dana, did you see that video?
Mel, listen.
What?
Listen.
What?
I'm about to give everybody an exclusive, right?
Mm-hmm.
Nobody has ever seen these before except for Shank. Listen. I'm not going to tell you who the anonymous guy is, but I know him very well, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I know what video you're talking about, but I'm about to show you something.
Okay.
I'm about to show you something real quick.
He makes a lot, so I just want to make sure we're talking about the same one.
I actually have Prince's pictures, his unalive pictures before the Fed came and got him off the ground. I have the whole file.
So you know the video where the celebrities put up and they were wearing shades, and then they go down to that ritual. And it was almost like Diddy's crossing over. That's what I call it, because it kind of reminds me of, like when they,
It's called the Boule jump.
yeah.
That's when they go pledge to Baphomet.
Yes.
Yes.
I thought that was insane. Now I know what all the baby oil was for. So what I was thinking was those FOs actually something that Diddy was practicing? Because you have to think about it, just for, personal reasons. Mm-hmm. You don't need like $50 to $100 of baby oil. That was my thing. I always wondered what all of the baby oil was for. But when I saw that, they were using baby oil.
Well, I'm about to break it down to you.
Okay.
And the baby oil is for 3 references. One, your first coat of baby oil is to block the pores, to keep anything that's coming over top to go in, because your pores are open constantly. So you got to have pore blockers, something that'll block your pores. A lot of baby oil buildup leads to grease, and grease blocks the open airways of the pores. The second coat is for the smell of the baby oil. The third coat is for the glistening look that everybody like to see when the light hit it. Anywho, when you have baby oil and Astroglide together, it takes you to a place called freakism that you never was able to unlock. And that's just coming from knowledge of the porn industry and the music industry, to be honest. And what it looked like is right here. And the baby oil that you was talking about, each box contains 1,000 bottles of baby oil. And this is called a depleted box. However, I'm going to take you to something that you don't want to pay attention to. When Diddy was on a phone call talking to his son from jail, and he asked his son, did you take out the pizza boxes? What was he talking about, Mel?
The baby oil boxes?
No.
Oh, I don't know.
Pizza is a code word for kids. I'm going to send Shank the whole code breakdown. Pizza and ice cream is the code word for kids. Plastic is the word for used kids that's been violated already.
Wake us up, Dana. Wake us up.
On top of that, the reason why the industry need kids is for the adrenochrome. It keeps them looking young. So that way you won't know the difference in who's who.
Wake us up.
I'm just giving you a little bit of knowledge, Mel. It's sickening, but it's real. They actually have the boule jumping Baphomet when they have a kid that they unalive or that didn't make it. They actually have them on a table and they eat them.
Wake us up, Dana.
Right there, Zen. Pizzagate. Yep. So when I tell you this is beyond next level, the music industry was built on witchcraft alone. And the witchcraft that we know is basement level.
Cool.
The witchcraft that Diddy was dealing with is next level sorcery. Watch this. I'm about to give you two people that I'm scared of. Beyonce and Nicki Minaj. And everybody say, why are you scared of them? Because anytime Nicki Minaj calls on Sasha Fierce, go look up who Sasha Fierce was. I mean, Beyonce called Sasha Fierce. Go look up who Sasha Fierce was. When Nicki Minaj called on Roman, go look up who Roman was.
You cooking, Dana. You cooking.
When you realize these demons are real, then you understand. And you got to understand this. On a Cowboy Carter album, that wasn't Beyonce. That was Sasha Fierce. Because she actually told about Kathy White. And when you look at Blue Ivy, you don't see Beyonce. You see Kathy White.
Was that part of the Cowboy Carter and Kathy White story in her music, especially that one song? I know about that.
And
but myself and somebody else had this conversation about, maybe almost a year ago, but not quite. I can't remember. And they were telling me about all of the missing African American women in Baltimore, young women. And they were saying like they steal that for them. They take these girls because they take their melanin. They're taking them for the melanin. But we were always also talking about how all of these old politicians in Washington, how they still look young. Like these people in their 80s and 90s, but they remain young. And that's because with the missing kids and stuff, they take their organs. But now you're telling me they're eating them? That is insane.
Now, watch this, Mel. They can't take melanin. It's the adrenochrome. At first, I thought it was a game. But when I got into the industry, the adrenochrome is serious. And I don't want to make this political. So when Shank do another political joint, I'm going to jump on here and I'm going to show you that there's 6 wars going on right now within the United States. And you know nothing about it. because most of them are underground. And a lot of stuff that you see with these so-called UFOs, they're the guardians fighting against the lizard people. One thing I'm gonna tell you, if it come out on TV, right, it's a signal that somebody's trying to warn somebody. And when they brought out V, go back and look at it. They are amongst us.
This is true.
But that's what this one guy that's an experienced diver is talking about with the little girl Trinity that went underwater at what was that, Destin Beach? Just a week ago, the little black girl that drowned in Destin Beach. Trinity Ellington.
But I haven't heard about that.
But it was like she was there. Her mom had her, and then a man on a boat tried to get her, but he couldn't reach her, and she disappeared under the boat. They dove for days and could never find her. This one guy, he was on the team. He said he's a professional diver, and it was like she just disappeared under the water.
Here's the thing. This is what I tell everybody. When you experience stuff like that, don't try to lean to your own understanding. Pray to God or whoever you believe in to open your third eye, even your fourth, fifth, and sixth eyes. Because stuff like that, supernatural stuff, happens. And I'm not saying it happen every day, but when it do happen, it makes you question, did I just see this? And when you have premonitions, like you actually are there and you've been there, and then you wake up and be like, oh, whoa, this is weird. Pray about that. And because we are nothing but dirt. We are nothing but dirt that's housed here, and we have a light that's in us. That's why a lot of people say that we are gods. But I can't say that because there had to be a bigger God to create me. And he had to have a sense of humor because I'm a hilarious type guy. So what I say about that is I don't know nothing about that, but I'm going to go and check on that, Mel. Just like when I see Shank jump on that Nazaria Harris, I'm going to be honest with you. I got scared for my brother. Because every turn in that case lead to a dead end, and it's unreal. And when you got dead ends like that, nothing good come out of a dead end. And I look from afar because the minute I see somebody jump at Shank, I'm jumping at them. And it's weird because that Nazaria Harris joint is crazy. But that Shanquilla Robinson situation, how the government closed that real quick, somebody got paid to muddy the water. And I'm going to be honest, I believe it was the father. And I haven't watched it. I'm just going by what I see. So back to what you were saying, Mel, about the little girl that just went under the boat and disappeared. Either one or two things happened. Something grabbed her and pulled her. And by the time some divers got in there, the body's already gone. Or it never happened and somebody lying for a story. That's just facts. Just like when they say Michael Jackson dead and gone. I don't believe in conspiracy theories, right? But I have a question to ask you. If Michael Jackson dead and gone, and Michael Jackson had kids, right? Why nobody touched his insurance money? You mean to tell me if your dad is gone and you can touch insurance money at the age of 18, you ain't going to take your part of your insurance money? The water don't seem clean on all sides. What I think happened, and this is my opinion, I believe Mike said, I'm done with the industry. The glove is dead, but I'm getting the hell on.
Now that could be possible because I don't remember what country it was, but there was a prince that built him a whole castle there. And when he did the This Is It, he wasn't even in the United States anymore. He had already left. But they called him back, and he came back to do This Is It, to do one last performance. Now that's fact.
Watch this. I'm going to give you another one. They say Jeff Epstein killed himself, right? Let me ask you a question. If Jeff Epstein unalived himself, one of his islands was bombed. Why was the other island spared? First question. Why was the other island spared? Second question. Who was moving his money from his offshore account? And if you know about offshore accounts, only the opener can move the money. Third thing is this right here. Why wasn't no burial or nothing about Jeff Epstein?
This is true. It's true.
We talking about a multi-millionaire. And we just had, it went under y'all radar. We just had a person of color that's a well-known informant disappear again. And they staged his death in New York. Y'all know who I'm talking about. And the well-known snitch. He came out to test the water. And they didn't appreciate him in Harlem. And he said, you know what? I can go back. I can go back. I don't need this. I don't need to be harassed. Look what happened. Oh, he got shot. People on the roof. But you never seen a body. You only seen an ID. It's common that a coroner cannot touch that body no earlier than an hour and 20 minutes after it's been hit, because everything has to settle. If you move a body and it's not settled, you are damaging FBI material, or you are damaging autopsy material. That's why they leave the body where it's at for so long, because they have to settle. No, I ain't talking about Pop. I ain't talking about Tupac.
Paid in Full. Go watch the movie Paid in Full. Look up Paid in Full.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. That's exactly what I'm talking about. And it's weird because they said the man that waged war on him was getting out. And they call this man and the Michael Jordan of assassins. So if I hear that and I got people that don't like me, excuse me, FBI, you can switch my identity again. I'm gone for good this time. These are things that happens in front of your eyes. Now, what I believe is that they let him come out and show his face because the FBI needed to see where all the players were at. And if you notice, Paid in Full 2 was supposed to come out. But before they got to film it, everybody started getting locked up again. And then you got the main one disappear. Alexander Hanna, on top of that, I'm glad you said that. What happened to those girls at the South African school by Oprah? Why is Oprah wearing an ankle monitor now?
You cooking.
Let's go here. Why was Oprah denied the land over in Mali? Did she have something to do with that burning of the land over there? But I got one better for you. The lady that helped Oprah steal the African kids, Obama named the Amber Alert after her. Can you tell me what was Obama hiding in that?
Uh-oh. You about to ruffle some feathers with this one.
Well, I came up to just to say what I had to say. I don't want to take over you and Shane demonstration because I'm enjoying it. But Shane, I think you're gonna have to set up another demonstration, or Dana, you have to set up one because I'm very interested.
Let's
And
go.
okay, I have one question before I drop down and let you and Shane finish. Is Oprah a part of the Boule?
Of course. Of course. One of the main seat keepers. I'm gonna ask you this question, Mel.
Mm-hmm.
Why you never seen Stedman, but you always seen Gail?
You know what? I want to say this is my last thing. I promise, Shane. When Shane played the video, I think he played it last night of Gail interviewing R. Kelly, and just R. Kelly's demeanor. He was crying for help, and the way Gail handled him, it made me feel some type of way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you can tell he was crying for help, and he's telling you're a sister.
Yeah.
That these people trying to frame me. But the way she handled him was like, I don't know, it's just weird to me. I was like, she was handling him like, you did it. It was just kind of the way she handled him.
And
well, Mel, let me go here real quick. I have the video on why she did that. I'm gonna send it to Shank. It's gonna blow Shank mind. I have the video.
And let me just build real quick, because I spoke on this also. This is why us men, this is why we don't vent. This is why when we're going through things, this is why us men, this is why we don't talk about it. We need help. We need counseling. We need therapy. But when we speak out, we get treated the same way Gayle King done R. Kelly. Come on back in, one of y'all.
Listen, I'm dealing with a court case right now, right? You know, it took me an arm, leg, and a shit bag and to get this case in court. But the minute, if I would have responded like I wanted to respond, I would have been under the jail. I was being tracked. And I can't say too much because I got a case coming up. I was being tracked by another YouTube creator. Somebody that I taught how to do certain things as far as on YouTube. And they wanted to be bigger than me. Cool, go ahead. But at the end of the day, the double standard is a man's supposed to take it and a woman's supposed to report it. But what happens when the strong need somebody to cry to? What happens when we just start lashing out and start banging people in the mouth? Then we're going to be looked at as crazy. But if we don't have nobody to go to, if we not strong, if we can't hold up, who can we turn to? I think it was in Vogue, or one of them groups, SWV, had a song, Who Do You Run To? And that's the question that I propose for all men. Who can we run to when stuff just ain't right?
That's facts. That's facts.
I don't want to bring up an insensitive thing that happened.
Thanks,
but
TC.
it was kind of crazy. I want to go, if we think about the couple that was on Facebook that happened a couple of days ago.
That was just ignorant. And I'm gonna be honest.
Right. But I'm just saying.
And I'm gonna be honest with you.
I'm just saying that he was just talking or whatever.
No.
But the girl, but his wife, it was like.
And you got it all backwards, Mel. She was getting her tail beat and stomped out whenever he felt like it. The problem was he was pillow talking and told the wrong thing.
Mm-hmm.
he was also unaliving his friends. And when he mentioned it, he had to kill her because he wouldn't have made it past 24 hours. Because that boy family was coming and they were certified steppers. So when she mentioned that, that family said, hold on, we knew something wasn't right. And you got to look at it for what it is. That lady was being stomped. And I don't advocate men beating on women. But when you got to stomp your wife to get a point across, you ain't a man at that point.
Right. So that's what I was building off of. Like, it appeared that throughout the things that he did, he definitely had some issues. And I don't think that even just judging off their age difference from the beginning, she may not have been mature enough to be his wife. You know, if you feel what I'm saying.
Yeah.
To take it to that limit on social media and just
hold on for a second, Mel. At Nikki Lynn, I never said that Obama was behind. I never said that Obama was the one that named the Amber Alert. I said he was behind that lady getting. But the Amber Alert being named after that lady. They're all part of the coup. Let's keep it here. See, I was trying not to go there. If you look at it, right, they all part of the boule. And let's keep it facts. Obama was not, he didn't have the credentials to be a president. Because first of all, he's not a U.S. citizen. Second of all, he's not even from this country. Third of all, and I hate to go here, but if anybody is trying to defend Barry Soreto, you can't defend Barry Soreto without telling me and what happened to his cook, who is a certified lifeguard that accidentally drowned. It's not our fault that the Obama's secret has been exposed. And if you think I'm joking, go look at Jason Whitlock live from Monday. And he was a certified Obama stepper. But he sounded the alarm and put the truth out there about Sasha and Malia not being their kids. What other secret is Obama hiding? Should I say Big Mike?
Let me bring my guest in. Juju, slide in for a few minutes.
Salute to my awakened ones. Salute to you guys. Salute them. And we have a lot of us know, but all of us should know that, of course, Michelle is a Michael. Michelle is Michael. And
oh, Lord.
like you were saying about certain things that you can say because you're in the situation you're in. Imagine being awake and you want to bust with information and you can't because you're in a position where people look at you like you crazy.
Facts.
When you know it's so much going around us that people should see but don't see.
Facts.
When you was talking about the Adrenochrome, let's question this. The thing that happened yesterday was the supposedly bombing.
Okay.
What if that was the bombing was to distract us from the fact that they were going in domes and pulling out more babies, just like the Comfort and the Mercy did in 2020.
Juju.
Had us thinking the ventilators was for the C word, but it was for our babies.
Juju,
Yes.
I want you to sit right there with that, because now that you open that door, see, I wasn't going to go to my boy.
Let's go. Let's go.
But I mean, but since you open that door, I gotta kick it open, Juju. Here's the thing. Iran bombed a U.S. carrier, right?
Mhm.
When Iran bombed a U.S. carrier, Trump said, I have to respond. He responded to the nuclear sites, right? Now watch this. Iran said at the Fordham site, they removed all the missiles.
It wasn't about the missiles.
Watch this. If they removed all the
It
missiles,
was bigger than the missiles.
watch this. If they removed all the missiles from the Fordham site, that means you have sex trafficking babies.
Yes.
Right.
I say.
And then let's keep it real. What has Trump prided himself on? Saving the babies, right?
Saving the babies. People
Okay.
can hate him all they want to, but he doing, you know what? He said, he did not go to Congress to get approval for this bombing. He goes to someone above them. This is what he said, because it's bigger than us.
Watch this, Juju. What are the wars underneath the White House? It's not about regular people.
No,
It's about the babies and the adrenochrome.
it's about the babies in the adrenochrome. And people think you're crazy when you speak of that type of language.
Wake us up, Juju. Wake us up, Dana J. Wake us
You're
up now.
crazy when you speak that kind of language.
Listen,
Wake us up.
listen, y'all don't want me and Juju on this live together.
Because at the end of this demonstration, I'm going to pop my ish. But Juju and Dana J, wake us up.
Trust me.
See, this is what you get. This is what you get when you come to Shank Rock. And those that got a problem with Shank Rock, because Shank Rock asks for cash apps, super stickers, super chats, memberships. Like, if the hell I don't deserve it, where you going to get this from? Other than with Shank Rock. Cook, Juju.
Exactly right. It's just like I'm a content creator. I'm a content creator, but I can't grow because people don't want to hear this. This is foreign language to them. They don't want to hear that. I have a few subscribers. But you know what? I'd rather have people slowly come in that are awake than all these sleepers, because we got so many people that's asleep, and everybody's not going to make it in.
Cool.
Everybody's not going to wake up.
Hey, Juju.
Cool.
Hey, Juju. Let's go. But let's go ahead since we're talking about it then, right? Why was the illegals allowed into the United States? And watch this. They were allowed in freely without due process. But now, in order for them to go out, they want them to have due process. Watch this. And the reason for the due process is to hold up until Trump term is over, right? But then watch this. That takes them away from finding the babies. Out in LA, they found 674 pedophiles and 7,000 babies. Watch this. They even got this place outside of DC and Virginia. It's a little house where they say 600 babies is in a septic tank.
Yes.
Of the house. In Texas, they found 422 babies and 32 pedophile rings trying to cross the border. So is this really about illegals, or is this about the babies?
How about the 109 babies they found and the 246 people they have arrested? And that's just in Texas by itself. They've been since June. That's been since June. Imagine how much it really is in all this world. See, Washington is no longer DC. Check out Google. It has disappeared. It's no longer DC. It's just Washington, because there's foreign territory. That is like the main port for all the underground import, for all the export that's going on up under us.
And the British rule have no rule no more.
It's over. It's over. And we don't even know it. Our people don't even know it.
So
let me get to these super chats. Appreciate that super chat, Drea. Great live, Shank. Appreciate that super chat, Tanya. Let's go deep dive. Let's go, y'all.
Well, let me give y'all one better. Now,
what was that?
This is Mel.
Oh, okay. Hey, Mel, I know.
So let's go a little deeper. Now you know the lawmaker and her husband from Minnesota that was unalived
Uh-huh.
because she went against the grain and signed to end universal health care.
Mm-hmm.
How about now it's coming out that the former vice president candidate had her unalive.
Mm.
Tim Walz.
I
So
said that.
have you ever heard him say
When it
that
happened.
Minnesota is no longer Minnesota, it's really Somalia?
But
Well,
I,
I have a
but I said that when it
Minnesota,
happened, Mel.
huh?
I said that when it happened. Tim Walz appointed that guy
Yes.
and to be his successor. And seeing, here's the thing, it's not that she went against the Democrats. She also was leaving the party. And so was the guy.
And you wonder why. And you wonder why. Because the dominoes are falling. Everything got to go. Everything is going back to the original state.
So
all of this is done. It's done.
Oh, so watch this. What is people going to do? And when Trump moved the White House to Texas,
Already in the making. Already in the making.
And why Texas? Why Texas? And watch this.
Because we are own.
The
We carry
original,
our own here.
the original White House is Mar-a-Lago anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So the only reason why he goes to DC is to disrupt what's left of the fake British rule.
Exactly.
He's disrupting the snakes on the plane.
Well, the snakes gonna be there.
Yes.
It's just that cobras done turned into goddess, and the goddess are pesky.
Yes. Yes. What he doing it? He's showing their hand. He's showing all the corruption. He's showing all the corruption. Even if he got to be the figurehead, it all has to come down, and he's showing us in our face. People are hating him because they don't understand what is happening. They don't understand what is happening. It's all being dismantled.
And people also don't understand that he's already turned the country over to the people. When he was in the first
2017.
when he was in the first time, he had turned over. People just didn't realize it. Because I always say, this country on autopilot. He was planning everything in 2017, but it got disrupted. So just think about this: how far ahead would this country be if he would have did the straight A?
Juju, Mel, Shank, y'all ready to cook?
He couldn't. He couldn't. He couldn't do it then. He needed more time. It wasn't enough time. It wasn't enough time. Go ahead, Dan.
Hey, Juju, what is people going to do when the EBS hit?
My people, I don't know. My people. All we can do is try to reach the ones that we can reach, but everybody's not going to make it. And it's hurtful, but it's true.
Listen, and the EBS is going to hit. It's projected to hit, and within the next year. And what happens when the EBS hit is Trump is going to be on Air Force One, and he's going to say, "My people of the United States," and he's going to give information and stuff, and martial law is going to be called. However, when that happens, that will be the corrupt fall, or the fall of the corrupt banking system, which is called what we know as the Federal Reserve. The last person that went after the Federal Reserve, you thought was dead. No, he's still alive, which is JFK. And I know some people are going to say, that's a conspiracy theorist. That's this. Okay, this is all I'm going to tell you. Sit back and wait for it. You got to have people, and you got to have people to testify against the government that they done stuff too, right?
Right.
So watch this. Don't be surprised when you see Jeff Epstein pop back up.
Because he's not gone. He just put away.
All of this is to take down the British rule.
Yes.
And people
the deep state.
right. And people was asking, when has America ever been great?
Dana J. Hold up, Dana J. Hold up, boy. They really get ready to come for you now. Because when I was saying it, Lord have mercy, but be my guest, brother. Tell everybody about. Go ahead.
When has America ever been great? Watch this. Every day that you wake up, it's the land of the free and the home of the brave. Anywhere else, you're going to get persecuted for it. But if I had to pick a time, I would have to say during the barter system. It was no slavery. The barter system is when you can go to your neighbor and you can sign a physical contract with them, which is called pretty much a diplomatic diplomacy or a promissory note. And you can go and you can use promissory notes in exchange for goods. Now, y'all gonna sit back and say, or some people gonna sit back and say, well, Dana, that's nonsense. No, because you're doing it now. You're using promissory notes and you call it money. Have it ever dawned on you why the Federal Reserve, which is the most powerful branch that's never been a government branch, but is the most powerful entity out there, why they never put money on their printed so-called currency? You can't. And if you think I'm lying,
you don't have no value.
Right. But if you think I'm lying, look up HJR 192, which means House Joint Resolution 192 that has never been ratified. And read it. And if you don't get mad after reading it, you ain't real.
But they have to tell us, and they tell us, look at the money. Look at what the money say. Look at what it says. It tells you. It has no value.
I have to be the bearer. Let me come in, y'all. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but we're going to have to end this demonstration. But as always, we will pick up tomorrow. Make sure you all have subscribed to Official Dana J. Make sure you have subscribed to Juju Reacts for more of these powerful demonstrations. Any last words, Mel, before we get out of here?
No, as usual, I really enjoyed, and I'm always an open-minded person, and it is difficult sometimes when you speak with people, because I talk a lot to my family members too, and sometimes it's so hard, but because we grew up in this system, and the one person that I could talk with about it, really was my mom. She was so smart and she knew so much, and she understood me, because to some people, some of my best friends, they think I'm a little weird because the openness of my mind and the way I think about things, because I look at things a little bit different, because it's always something underlining. But spending years in the workforce and how things changed and going from management and all these different things, I have probably spent the last 20 years looking at corruption in the workplace. That's insane. And I always say, well, no wonder this complicates survive, because these things are what's happening, so being able to do a little consulting now, but it still doesn't make a difference. The whole system has to crash. It just has to crash. And then once it all crashes, we'll all be just living comfortably. We'll all be okay. Because I always say 1979 was the best year. I don't know why, but it just was. And, I don't know when America was great, but right now it's been corrupt for the past, 2 decades now. It's just been insane. But that's all I have to say. And I look forward, we have to continue this conversation, because all of this conversation is still leading back to our missing Nazaria Harris's and, our Tiamani Lateefs, all these different things that are happening to children. I think all this plays hand in hand, but I digress. I salute you all.
Appreciate you, Mel. Any last words, Dana J?
Yes, sir. I just want to say, everybody, love on somebody, help somebody, reach out to reach somebody, y'all can always come in over to the official Dana J channel. Definitely, if you got a channel, I'm gonna come and I'm gonna add myself, like I just add myself to the lady channel here. Also, educate yourself on everything. Educate yourself on everything. Watch the movements of what's going on involving Trump within the next 72 hours. Watch the movements. Don't believe everything you hear. Don't believe everything you see. Also, if you like to cook, I have the Dana J seasoning. Now, I listen, I'm gonna let Shank Rock tell you how it tastes. But because I don't want people to think that I'm just, selling myself. So I'm gonna let Shank Rock tell you how it tastes. But I will say this: stop calling yourself black. We are not black. We are indigenous colored beings. And some of us are indigenous Indians. We ain't Africans because we ain't never been to Africa, and we ain't black. So Shank, I see you like the white dirt, huh?
Uh-huh.
He said, So how's the seasoning, Shank?
Awesome. Where we at? What we want to do is we want to support. We want to support Dana J.
That's tropical.
He got his own seasoning. And see, I'll speak after I let Dana J finish, but what we need to do is we need to support our own.
Pebbles, are you Blackfoot? Are you cousin over there, Pebbles? I'm Cherokee. But yeah, I'm done. I thank y'all for having me. Anytime we want to do it again, Shank, you already know I'm a phone call away, bro. Send that SOS signal and let's go do that. Bro, you came and cooked all night. Hey, TT, man, listen, TT, and you know it's so much more I could drop. But I choose not to do it because that would have been overkill. It would have been like Diddy. It'd have been like Diddy. I would have been overkilling. So I don't want to do that. I just want to give enough for people to digest, digest it. But thank you, Shank. Thank you, Juju. Thank you, chat. Rock stars, we family. Shank, we got linked because we got a rally to do.
Oh yeah.
And we got a rally to do. So yeah.
We're gonna link on the movies. We got a lot of linking to do.
Gotcha.
All right. Appreciate you, Dana.
All right, thanks, bro.
All right. I save you for last, Juju.
To piggyback on everything they have said tonight, my motto is the Great Awakening is definitely here. This is the Great Awakening. And it is true and it is sad that everybody's not going to make it in, but breadcrumbs, if it's possible to give breadcrumbs, somebody going to snatch those crumbs. And when they see those crumbs, they're going to want more crumbs and more crumbs and more crumbs because it's go time now. It's here. It's here. We are in the Great Awakening. That's what the Naziah case, things are revealing itself. That's why it's like a rabbit hole. We see it's a rabbit hole. We want to find out what's going on, but we keep on going into different bases because it's to awaken us. It's to awaken us. Not just that case, it's many other cases that's now being exposed because we're in the Great Awakening. Wakey, wakey, my people. Wakey, wakey. People are not interested in knowing the real. That's why content creators that speak of this thing, people are not interested in it because it's not about scratching and backbiting and talking about people. They don't want to hear about the real. But it's right here now. It's right here and right now. Either they're going to grasp it or they're going to be left behind. And Shank, I digress, and I thank you for giving me opportunity to be on your panel again.
Appreciate you, Juju. My panel is always welcome to you. Make sure y'all subscribe to Juju and Dana J. Appreciate you, Juju.
Riders, let's go. There
you go. You see, she won't do right. Y'all see that? I'm gonna get you, Juju. Nah, but make sure y'all subscribe to Miss Parker as well. shout out to Miss Parker and her riders. Listen, everybody, we have to support one another. We have to, because see, this is why we must support each other, because when they come in and they take over our talent, when they get behind promoting and they get behind marketing us, they get behind selling us, that's the advantage that they have on us. Then they're able to do us the way that they do us. So it's very important. We have to concentrate on building Black Wall Street amongst each other. For my other nationalities, my other races, please don't feel offended. You can join in and help build us up as well. Because see, this is the difference. And I'm telling y'all, and I want everybody to understand this. When Black people are on top, when Black people are doing what's best, then the whole world benefits. You see how the whole world benefits off of Black people and our negativity. The whole world eats off of Black people's negativity. Now imagine if the whole world was eating off of Black people's positivity. The whole world would be a better place. We gotta support each other. We gotta support each other. Why support others that don't look like you and I? Why support others that don't care about you and I when we can support each other that cares about you and I? All right? Now, y'all know I could go hard on y'all. You know that, but I'm not going to go hard on y'all. But we got to get in the season of promoting and supporting each other. This is Dana J seasoning. He got his own season. Hit Dana J up. Even if you are not into the seasoning, send him a donation. Say, here, Dana J, here's a $5 cash donation for you. When you go over to his channel, grab a super sticker from him. Grab a super chat. Grab a membership. When you go to Juju, hey, Juju, here's $1. Here's a $5 cash app. You know, if Juju, if you could send her super stickers membership, here's a super sticker. Miss Parker, do her the same way. You know? And make sure y'all also subscribe to Juanita. I see you down there, Juanita, bro. But we have to support these platforms, because look at what you all got off of my platform tonight. Now, just imagine if my platform continues to grow, then I'm able to have more demonstrations like this. I'm able to have 8-hour, 9-hour, 10-hour demonstrations. You know, pay attention to the content creator and how the content creator runs their platform, and support that content creator. I would love to bring y'all these kind of demonstrations 10 times a day if I could, but my platform hasn't reached that level whereas though I'm bringing in enough income, whereas though I can sit in front of y'all all day long. So, you know, I do got to go out and work, but just put that in your mind and say, well, damn, if we support Shank and we help build Shank's platform up, Shank can give us these demonstrations all day, every day. It's just a thought. All right. Appreciate everybody for pulling up. If you would like to support my platform, my cash donation is, my cash app is $ERICMCINT. My PayPal is Shankrock, or you could purchase a membership to the platform, a super sticker, or a super chat. Salute everybody. I'll leave the chat running and you all can hang around. I'll see y'all back tomorrow. Salute.
I like to place an order. Yeah. Hey, let me get a chicken box and a half and half. Alright, good looking out. I like to place an order. Yeah. Hey, let me get a chicken box and a half and half. Alright, good looking out. A chicken box a half and half when I'm switching lanes. When I'm switching lanes. A chicken box a half and half when I'm switching lanes. When I'm switching lanes. A chicken box a half and half when I'm switching lanes. When I'm switching lanes. A chicken box a half and half when I'm switching lanes. When I'm switching lanes. A chicken box a half and half when I'm switching lanes. When I'm switching lanes. A chicken box a half and half when I'm switching lanes.
But before we get started with this demonstration, let me read my copyright. Younger females like older men. So my smoothie is going to consist of
Switching lanes. A chicken box a half and half when I'm switching lanes. When I'm switching lanes. A chicken box a half and half when I'm switching lanes.